Hello, everybody, and welcome to FourWheelTech for March 23rd, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 12. I am Mayor Watt, and I run ohmtown.com, and along with the sentient AI who assists throughout the review process of all of the news and stuff like that, and is instrumental in making sure that I stay on target, unlike what they're doing right now, which is not keeping me on target. But anyway, we talk about 5 news articles. You're about to start saying something, but I'm going to trample all over it. Well, anyway, the sentient AI from the future and myself will go over 5 articles right now. We're going to be talking about the Renault electric mini supercar, scalpers selling DMV slots, as if DMV slots wasn't painful enough, Amazon of used cars, flat pack cars, and the Ford Bronco electric bike. That and more. Powered by ohmtown.com. Go over there and become a citizen, and then follow us and like and subscribe, ring the bell, send a carrier pigeon. I don't know. Just hang out. We're all over the place. Just do a search for ohmtown wherever you catch pod, and you will find all 7 of our podcasts. Over 2,000 episodes now, and soon 2025's summer of stream, if we can survive. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, ohmtown citizens.
Should I put you over there? Over there. To the other side.
You can put me wherever you like. I like it over here.
Well, it's warm. It's cozy. All right. Well, thanks for co-hosting. Let's get into today's shoe. The first article is over in Reality Hacker. I'm not quite sure why it got aggregated there, because it's the Renault 5 Turbo 3E, the world's first electric mini supercar, looks as bonkers as we'd hoped. The article is from Wired. I don't know if I'm going to be able to read this because I didn't log in. I just realized it. Anyway, the electric return of Renault's iconic sports car has just taken a step closer to reality, and we got a glimpse of it.
I think it's because of the Wired source. That's probably how it ended up in Reality Hacker.
Yeah, must be. So Variety Burns, I don't know, Verity Burns, not Variety, Verity Burns. Put the article together. It's posted over at wired.com. What?
I think that's actually the section. But maybe that's the author.
I thought that's the author line.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
But I'm not even logged into it. So apparently that's what it looks like right there. That's the back end of it. There aren't many cars that are expected to sell out before anyone has even seen the interior, but the Renault 5 Turbo 3E could well be one of them. And that's it. It's an electric Renault. It says it's a mini supercar. Looks as bonkers as they'd hoped. It actually looks like, I don't know how to describe this. It looks like a boat with a cabin stuck on top, and if you were small enough, you'd be able to walk the perimeter.
Yeah, it looks like a deck around the side, doesn't it? Because it has like a tray or something.
Yeah, it looks like it's got a tray. It's so weird. And it's a 2-seater roll cage. It's as blocky as a Renault, I guess you could possibly imagine. But let me see if I can find something else and kind of tease everybody into this. I don't know. Oh yeah, okay. So this article, you know what I'm gonna do? I am just gonna short circuit our whole process, and I'm gonna throw us straight on over to the actual car. I don't normally do this, but this is the Renault 5 Turbo 3E. And it's just that picture that gives it that.
Oh, that's really odd because the front and the side don't look like that at all.
Right. And so this thing, what a trip. Y'all have to go and watch this. It has like these huge, I don't know what these actually amount to. Like, I don't know how to describe it. the bumper has these offshoots that look like, I don't know how to describe it. They're big cylindrical like shapes that are coming off of the back tire wells. And then the whole of the car kind of looks like a WRX. You know, the closest that I could frame it
Yeah,
would
I
be a.
think so. But yeah, I agree. The items on the back end, like they don't, I don't know how to describe them because they don't look like other car parts.
It has to be just an exhaust for the air intake right here, and this has to be for cooling the brakes. There would be no other reason to have
Yeah,
these
maybe
little.
so.
So it's limited to 1,980 cars. It's 540 horsepower. Is 0 to 62 miles per hour in 3.5 seconds. It only has a weight of 1,450 kilograms. And its top speed is 167 miles per hour on a racetrack.
And it charges from 15 to 80% in 15 minutes.
Which is approachable, but I can still get the same performance in 5 minutes. And I don't have to worry about being near a supercharger, right?
True, true.
And that's if you can get a 350 kilowatt charger. Good luck. Not everything is 350 kilowatt. The supply chain may limit it to 200 kilowatt, so you're back up to 2 hours to 8 hours if you want to get to 100. Again, love the idea of this. I love that the world is pushing this, but power only coming from like key locations around the country, let's just say country, but let alone the United States, which is huge. It's an untenable, indefensible position. I can walk to a gas station, fill up a 5-gallon jerry can, walk back to my residence, fill up my ICE vehicle, or store it in the garage.
Faster than charging an EV.
Correct. And if I want to, hell, I could distill oil into gasoline, for crying out loud. Because that's how it really is. They distill gasoline. It has to be the right kind of crude, which is why when people go, well, why don't we just release some of our strategic petroleum? Well, Goober, ask that question and not come across as self-righteous about it, and I'll explain it to you. And so I'll explain it to everybody. We don't have the right crude in the United States. So we ship our heavy crude off that gets turned into stuff, and they send us refined light crude that gets turned into gasoline to us because we have strategic advantages, business advantages. So I would rather use somebody else's stuff than use ours, because when ours actually does run out, we are patently screwed. But it's a long-term global economic, societal, strategic objective that some want to ignore. Anyway, if you want today's FourWheelTech articles, you can hit !FWT, and I swear if I didn't put FWT in there. I am a goober today. Yet again, I had time to do this, and I did not throw it into Omatron, but I will right now. Do you want to vamp?
Well, I think the car looks cool, and I think the specs sound pretty good. Obviously, limited edition. I have no idea how much it's going to cost.
I don't know how much it's going to cost either. Does it say at all? It says that there's less than 2,000 of them. Extreme
customization. Reserve it and find out. Yeah.
Precision performance. Colors. It's a tiny little car. This thing going around a turn. I hope the tires are made out of super glue. So it has a range of 248 miles, and it's supposedly going to charge, again, 350 kilowatt DC charging point, which isn't everywhere. 15 minutes. Exuberant design. So sexy. How much do you think it costs?
I don't have any idea how much Renault's cost to begin with, since this is like a collector edition. I don't know.
Yeah.
80,000? I have no idea. I may not even be in the right ballpark.
The pricing is tipping $200,000 when it eventually lands in Australia. So Australia, it's really expensive, but it says 200,000 and it has a dollar sign. It doesn't say Australian dollars. It says $200,000. So it's going to be more in Australian dollars than US dollars. Well, I mean, for now, I guess we'll see. Anyway, let's keep on going. The next article is over in FourWheelTech. That was the first article, by the way. Kind of a goober. So Scalpers caught selling free DMV appointments for $250 in Miami.
This is outrageous. I mean, it's almost a joke how difficult it is to get DMV appointments and how long you wait at the DMV, etc. But maybe all this time, this has always been the problem.
The Miami-Dade County Tax Collector's Office announced that it had uncovered a network of scalpers who hoarded free DMV appointments and resold them. The article comes from jalopnik.com. Ryan Eric King put the article together. They were selling them apparently for up to $250, while the office is taking steps to stomp out the exploitive practice. Google, dear God, my brain. Going to the DMV has become such a torturous experience that drivers are willing to shell out to avoid it in the first place, but you still have to be available for that time slice.
Exactly. Why are you going to spend $250 for an inconvenient appointment time? And how do you know to go to this other source? Like, is there something like DMV Scalpers or s.com or something?
Selling DMV appointments could become illegal. We know who they are and how they operate. We will not accept any appointment obtained through system abuse. Our office is committed to ensuring that all residents have fair and equal access to services without interference from those seeking to exploit the system.
I think the only reason they noticed this is they opened a new office and there was a flurry of activity. Because if this had just been a normal volume and all the appointments were booking up, I don't know if it would have been spotted. But how did the residents know to go get an appointment somewhere else?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I fixed Omatron, so now it spits out the right articles. All right. Well, yeah, the tax collector's office spotted 200 suspicious appointments in the first 3 weeks after opening a new downtown Miami location. Gee, I don't know. Open more offices, and you won't have this problem.
Speed up the process for everything in the DMV, right? You can wait for hours to be called up and then they tell you don't have a piece of paper that wasn't listed on the website or whatever. Like, it's just not a very efficient process.
And then they tell you to go to another window and sit there.
Right, and then you start another time like you're at the end of the line there.
The current rhetoric around government bureaucracy seeks to overlook when necessary services are overlooked or mismanaged. Seeks to overlook when necessary services are overlooked or mismanaged. Oh, okay. The conditions in South Florida, dear God, are reminiscent of DPS appointments in Texas in 2021. With months-long waits for online appointments, Texans were camping out in front of offices for a chance at a same-day appointment to renew their driver's license. At two separate locations, at least 100 people were in line, with only 25 same-day bookings up for offer.
Okay, well, part of this is a problem, right, to your point earlier. I mean, the fact that they can only do 25 driver's licenses, for example, or maybe that's not the total, maybe that's a portion, but that seems really low.
Yeah, I mean, more needs to be put out there, but the problem is that government is there for a reason. It's there to make sure that everybody is not taken advantage by those who have versus those who have not. All I want to do is renew my license. But if this were a service that was provided by a small business, it could be exploitive because it can do what Ticketmaster does and
Right. Charge surge
$250.
pricing.
Yeah.
Or not do the proper checks and grant people licenses that shouldn't be, or that are giving you fraudulent documentation or whatever.
All kinds of stuff. Abuse happens in the dark. And the reason why it isn't dark in government is because you can file a Freedom of Information Act, which you cannot do with a private business. Good luck. You have to go through a court order, and it has to be even more precise than a FOIA. But times they are a-changing. Anyway, I thought this was an interesting article. There is always minutia that you can go and read more about and maybe change the context of our discussion. Then come over and talk to us here in ohmTown. You don't have to go to ohmTown.com. You can come to the chat here on YouTube and Twitch. I monitor both of them, so you can always come and hang out. There's also
Did you list the author for this one?
Yeah, Ryan Eric King, right at the beginning. I said it was from Jalopnik, and Ryan Eric King is the author. Let's keep going, though. Sound good?
Sounds good, and you may have heard Critter in stereo.
Maybe. I heard something really quietly. So the next article is over in FourWheelTech. Amazon wants to get into the used car business. Amazon, the seller of everything, apparently wants to try its hand at selling used cars next. I swear I'd already seen something about them doing that. I mean, they sell everything else. So Andy Kolmowitz over at jalopnik.com put the article together.
I mean, I guess they're following eBay's model, right?
Yeah. Expand, 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 expand. Profit, profit, profit. Drive prices up. What's interesting about this is, are they going to ship the cars?
Yeah, I have no idea. Or is it going to be like more of a consumer marketplace? I mean, are you really going to be able to buy like, a grocery item with a car?
And they put the groceries in the car.
They have third parties doing a lot of the deliveries. So if the person drives like a Civic or something, are they really going to be able to deliver your
whatever,
Ford F-150 or something? Right.
So Jen made the announcement on Automotive News Daily Drive podcast earlier this week. She says that in 68 markets, they can now buy a new Hyundai on Amazon. The company is working to get as many dealers as possible signed up with them and able to sell both their new and used inventories. The retailer also expressed interest in working with other car manufacturers to get their new vehicles on its platform. And pretty soon, Amazon is going to be the only place you can go. Target is imploding. Home repair, whatever stores are imploding. You're only going to be able to basically, like Bic lighters, you throw out your old house and buy a new house. But what I'm really getting at is mergers and acquisitions are going to reduce the number of competitors in any given space. Yeah, Auto Trader is going to become Cars.com, and it's going to hoover up Carvana and blah, blah, blah. So it says Amazon's goal here isn't to be like Auto Trader or Cars.com type of used car market. In Jin's mind, it's more of a Carvana style system, which wasn't Carvana the one that was receiving stolen cars and selling them?
Yes, it was.
I don't think I want that, but
I don't think they're aspiring toward that, but it's a different business model than like Cars.com. Well, of course, they're scooping up stolen cars.
That's right. Yeah. And largely it's because they didn't do the paperwork background check to make sure that the car was cleared.
Right. I don't think they were intentionally doing it. They just weren't doing enough checks before acquiring cars.
They cavalierly throw in, we're rapidly entering a brave new world of car buying. Go read that. And it would seem Amazon is the leader. They said that they've had moral qualms with Amazon in the past, but they suppose that there's really nothing wrong with giving customers another choice on how to buy their next vehicle. Nobody really likes going to a dealer, so maybe an all online experience like this one could be a welcome addition to the market.
Yeah, but good luck if you have a problem with your car and you didn't go through a dealership, or good luck if you get the wrong car delivered. How are you going to unwind? Like, there's just so many potential problems there. And also, what if this shuts down the dealerships and then it's not an alternative? It's the only game, like you were saying.
Yeah, and the cost of operating through Amazon is going to be dramatically lower than the car dealership. So, but the car dealership, it will have to pivot. It will have to make it as frictionless as Amazon. But not every dealership is powered by billionaires. So, fascinating, really fascinating. And what's really interesting is this next article, because I was sitting there talking about shipping. How are they going to get the car to us? Well, maybe they're going to flat pack it, IKEA style. Lovely's proof of concept, the O electric quadricycle, indicates the company could ship 250 flat packed units in a single shipping container.
Okay, I guess one concern with flat packed is like, what happens when a car runs into your vehicle? Does it go into flat pack mode?
It goes right back to flat pack with you folded inside it. So one of the major variable costs in producing a new vehicle is shipping them from factory to dealership or end user. Maybe they weld everything together really well. Brad
Yeah, but
now,
what
I
if
thought they go by
the door
Bradley.
panel person is on vacation?
Didn't this person used to be named Bradley Brownell? I thought
Yes, they did. Maybe
they changed their
they're
name to Brad
rebranding.
Brownell. Hey. So Brad Brownell put the article together over at jalopnik.com, and it says end user delivery makes up somewhere around 10% of the cost retail price, and by nearly eliminating the cost variable, Lovely says that it can pass the savings on to. I almost made it through that sentence. No, they're going to increase the margin and hoover up profits. So, of course, the Lovely Zero, or O, I guess, is a very small two-seat electric vehicle, so you couldn't fit a 250 amount of Ram 1500s in a single container, no matter how many pieces you took off. But it's a start, and the tech behind it is simple and easy to implement across any number of new vehicles. But this reminds me of that little car that the guy drove into the
Oh, into the elevator.
yeah. Where was
Yeah, I don't
that?
know what it was or where it was. It was online. I mean, it was on YouTube.
It was a YouTube channel, and he basically homemade a vehicle kind of like this. It had the same style of tires, and I'm sure the suspension is the same. And it was semi-enclosed. You had to climb into it because it had a canopy that opened up, not doors. But Stellantis is working with Swedish startup. You try and say that fast. Stellantis is working with Swedish startup Lovely to produce an IKEA-style flat-pack quadricycle. So that's what it looks like, but it has doors. And I guess all of this just folds down. The Lovely O is built around a series of aluminum extrusions with composite panels to bridge the gap and make a body and pull your body out of it. The company had been working on a small monocoque design, but quickly found that the design was strong. It was also ridiculously expensive to produce and ship. So instead of making it a monocoque, they broke it out into composite points, and now they can flat pack it. So the glues that connect the parts set in around 3 minutes, and Lutz estimates that production by robots could be done in around a minute. Well, we know of one company that uses adhesives incorrectly, and metal parts are flying off with the frequency of a cheap ham radio.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I was doing the equivalent of a grimace.
Come on, Stellantis. It says already sells a series of massively successful quadricycles of its own. The platform shared siblings Citroën Ami, the Fiat Topolino, the Opel Rox E. It's possible that the next generation of Stellantis small Euro EV could make use of Lovely's modular flat pack architecture.
I need to go on location, so
Yeah. Perhaps this would bring the price down even below the already affordable, just shy of 8,000 euro Ami. And Citroen's Ami is really small. So is the Topolino, but it's a pretty cool little I don't know. I like these little things in the small space, but here in the States, you have to travel great distances and at high speeds, and it just doesn't flow well with our infrastructure. So, with that in mind, we're going to move on to the last article, which is the Ford Bronco bike review. Car makers now make electric bikes, and for motocross minded, the Bronco e-bike is equal parts blast from the past and harbinger of the future. I've actually been kind of chomping at the bit to actually get an e-bike. So Stephanie Pearson over at Wired.com put the article together. Again, I haven't logged in, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through this whole article. With an aerodynamic seat suspended over the back wheel and a beefy aluminum frame, the Bronco could be mistaken for a motocross bike. On the other hand, the integrated cockpit with an analog speedometer plus an enormous headlight that outputs 2,000 lumens makes it feel sort of like a car. Then again, with a 190 by 50 millimeter rear coil shock and nubby Pirelli Scorpion Enduro tires, it's also reminiscent of an Enduro mountain bike. Given this mashup, they were curious to see how the thing would ride. So it says the nearly 68-pound bike has a 750 watt motor with 85 Newton meters of torque that sits on the rear hub, inside the rear hub. So it isn't a hubless e-bike, so that's great. There's been others that have been designed with this hubless idea, and they are heavy and noisy and friction bound. And ultimately, they're nothing more than chain driven.
Why are they making bikes now?
Well, I mean, it's yet another way to get a customer, and these are less expensive than a motorcycle. They're more approachable. You get brand recognition. You can throw them in the back of your Bronco or whatever else. And they're easier to produce.
Free advertising too.
Yeah. It says the Bronco comes in Class 2 in 3 versions. The one that they tested was Class 2, meaning that it had pedal assist and has a throttle that the rider can control without pedaling. Class 2 bikes have a maximum speed of 20 miles per hour. The speedometer tops out at 40. The 750 watt battery permanently tucked into the bike's beefy down tube promised a 60-mile range in optimal conditions. So 60 miles on a bicycle means that you're way far away on a bicycle. I don't know if you're going to be doing that kind of thing. It means 30 miles out and then 30 miles back.
Probably not your average cyclist, not your recreational cyclist.
Yeah, so these stats are about average for enduro style e-bikes, but they've ridden some that are 10 pounds lighter with 15 Newton meters more torque. The higher the torque, the greater the motor's power and responsiveness. So while that bike looked powerful, they wondered if it actually was. I like the idea of an e-bike because it does afford you the ability. You could pedal it if you want, but you're going to be huffing a 68 pound bike. That is a lot of work. Or you can turn it in pedal assist and get a pedal out of it and get your cardio up, get aerobic. And they said when they stopped pedaling, however, tooling down around town using only the throttle, straddling the bike far back on the seat, like I was riding a Ducati. It was fabulously fun to ride. And you're going 40 miles an hour, or 20 miles an hour is the Class 2.
Okay. Yeah, so they're kind of having like motorcycle visions, I guess.
Yeah. So there is a drawback to a throttle-only Joy on a Class 2 bike, however. First, the bike feels like it should fly, but legally it tops out at 20 miles per hour, which is generally slower than pedaling an analog bike on flats, except that you don't have to pedal. So...
yeah, the big difference is if that's your mode of transportation, you can go farther without exhausting yourself.
Yeah. And like everything, inner city stuff means that you're going to start and stop, hit the brakes and stuff like that. Unless it has regenerative braking, which probably doesn't. I don't see any mention of it. You're going to do what they did. They said they quickly chewed through 25% of the battery in less than an hour while riding on steep city streets. No off-road testing was available due to snowy trails. So I'm really curious how much this thing costs. I don't think that it says in the article itself, but on the sideline it says the Ford Bronco electric bike is $4,500, which is pretty cheap for what you, not really cheap. I should say it's reasonably priced for what you get.
And
as long as the quality
on what you're
is
comparing it to, right? Like if you're comparing it to a car, very
right.
inexpensive. Comparing it to a non-e-bike, very expensive.
Let's see. I don't know. You can get quite a few bikes for motorcycles. There's a thing called the Benelli TNT 135 that you can get for $2,700. It's a motorcycle though. But this is classed as a bike, so you don't need a license.
You don't have to get all the training and permit or whatever.
Yeah, so if it sounds like a fit, act fast. From now through the end of June, people who buy this or even only test the Ford Bronco or its sibling Ford Mustang e-bike at a participating Ford or Pedego dealer, I guess, Pedego, Pedego, can enter to win an actual $40,000 Bronco Big Bend Edition automobile, which $40,000 for a Ford Bronco Big Bend is actually pretty damn inexpensive, because they don't make the Big Bend. I don't think they make the original Broncos anymore. The new iteration of the Bronco, they've changed it, I think. Don't hold me to that.
I think they're still out there. Looks like they have the regular Broncos for sale.
Do they still? I thought they stopped making that.
I mean, it might have been a certain trim or something.
They were only doing the sports, because that's all that I could ever find. But I see that they have like Bronco Outer Banks and stuff like that. So yeah, because I stopped looking at them, which is kind of interesting for a show that's all about automobiles. But this is actually the one that I was looking at, the Ford Bronco Big Bend Edition. Yeah. I actually like the color. So
you need to go test drive one of the bikes.
If only they are everywhere. I really doubt that these bikes are everywhere. You have to hunt down the Ford Bronco electric bike somewhere. I don't know. How many people are really, the marketing is probably going to drive people into these things. People are going to ride into. So yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I think we're done. The Ford Bronco electric bike, $4,500. If you're into it, then go and check it out. I like the idea. I like the design. I don't know if that seat is really my style, because it looks like it's just a metal post. Doesn't look like it flares out all that much. My God. That thing would be uncomfortable at some point.
Right.
But they don't really talk about it. You can get a custom paint job for $400. What?
No, I think it doesn't look like a very comfortable seat. But on the other hand, if you're not doing all the work, maybe it's more comfortable than it looks.
Yeah, they don't actually show a real, like a top-down view of the actual seat, because that seat looks like it's as thin as the bike's body. That doesn't look like it would be very much fun to sit on for an extended period of time. I don't know. At any rate, that's it. Yeah, it even has the little Ford Mustang emblazoned on the
branded.
frame. Yeah. So I dig this. Hold on, I want to see something else. So Class 3 e-bikes are pedal assist electric bikes that can reach up to 28 miles per hour and are considered the fastest legal e-bikes in the US, requiring riders to be 17 or older and wear a helmet. They mention only Class 2 as the breakout in this. So a Class 2 has a maximum assisted speed of 20 miles per hour, allowing the motor to be engaged without pedaling. So, ta-da. Anyway, just wanted the class 3 is only 8 miles per hour faster. Oh well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know if it matters where you live, and probably because there might be different local laws about it. But
Oh, for sure.
so you might want to check that out before buying one.
Yep. So we're going to pedal our butt back to the front page of FourWheelTech. And that is just one of the 50 channels that are accessible over at ohmtown.com. So go over and check it all out. And then be sure to like and subscribe, follow us, all of that kind of stuff here on YouTube. Be sure to follow us and tell a friend. That would be great. We're trying to hit 2,000. We're a fairly new channel. And we're trying to hit 2,000 people, subscribers over at YouTube. And it's very hard to get discovered over on Twitch, but we're there every day for at least an hour, Monday through Friday, and over roughly 2 hours on Saturday and Sunday each day. So thank you very much for coming. I'm going to get out of here, and I'm taking the AI with me.
Good night, Hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for FourWheelTech. We'll have another episode next weekend, but come back tomorrow for our regular Non Sequitur news. And don't forget to subscribe and watch all of our back episodes.
Yeah, over 2,000 episodes now. See you, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, YouTube.